High heels on my tippies. Dough, say ain't Gabbana, that's on my titties.
Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're doing well today. Excuse this I only have my spotlight to work with right now, guys, okay? Please. Anyways, this year I really wanted to introduce design videos on this channel, especially while I'm still in school. Since this is my last semester, I thought, well, this will be a good time to start that pace. I have an assignment right now due first week of February, and it is to design a work pod. I'll just throw it up here. You have been selected as one of 5 designers to participate in a competition to design a work pod for the higher ed and corporate market, sponsored by a major commercial furniture company. With people returning to the workplace and students back on campus, this furniture company is looking for a new, innovative piece that supports individual work and study in an open work and study environment. If your design solution / presentation is successful, you will be offered a job designing furniture for this company. This new work pod design can be for either single or multi-occupant use, must be able to support power / data, of course ADA accessible, and corporate lighting, provide acoustical privacy, accommodate overhead sprinkle heads, addresses thermal comfort, provides a surface to work, and addresses concerns regarding COVID-19. So we have, as requirements, we have a narrative, we have the work pod design, the space plan, the finishing materials, and then, decorative feature, light feature, art, accessory, anything of that sort. So my job is to create essentially an environment and design a work pod that would fit for that environment, relating to the higher ed and corporate market. So let's say we're I'm first going to, design the open space first. And then I feel like what I'm going to do is I'm going to work out some sketches and see which one fits the best in this space. So I will be back when I present this space to you guys. So as you'll see throughout this time lapse, I, put down a couple of different ideas. But originally I wanted this seed idea for this work pod. After I began to kind of draw out the environment a bit, just really basic, I started to draw out the shape a bit. And at first I feel like honestly I was overdoing it. Not that that's a bad thing, but I think that I wanted to really bring it home, but I was kind of sort of taking away from the functionality of a simple work pod. Don't get me wrong, when I get better at it, I'm definitely going to make complex work pods, but for now, let's start off slow a bit, let's pace ourselves. It's giving Kingdom Hearts, especially with this color scheme I put right here. But I was like, you know what, let's chill out a bit. Let's go back to let's keep it simple. It's crazy because after all that drawing, I ended up with what I really needed, which is something super conceptual and simple. I mean, look at that. Sometimes that's all you need, unless the process requires for a more elaborate drawing. But for this one, it really didn't need much. It just needed something to at least note the idea so I don't forget about it. Kind of went with this curvy door to remind myself that I wanted organic shapes in this work pod. And like I said, drawing back to the seed idea. Did I nail it? I have no idea, but the rounded top, I wanted it to mimic a seed as much as I could. And of course, it needs a flat bottom for the floors and such. Now, why organic shapes? Well, I feel like it would really tie in the motif together with it being a seed pod. The idea that I had was, when you plant seeds, so, actual seeds or mental seeds, and you water them, they eventually grow. Either by yourself or with people. And I made this, as I noted in the top left corner, a 3-person work pod, and I'll explain the functionality to you guys. But I wanted it to be a space where someone could work by themselves, or by choice, if there's a group, it can also switch to a group setting, which I'll explain further. So if you know SketchUp, you'll know that you start off with this empty plane, And so the first thing I did, I created a square and I wanted to see how a person would fit in here. And mind you, I said 3-person work pod, so I was like, oh no, this is way too small. As architects, scaling is everything, scaling proportions. And when I was looking at this, I was like, oh no, this is a dub. Like we gotta triple it. Thank God it comes with like a little like, you know, proportion human model for us to work with when we first download the plane. Anyways, I turned that into a cube. The size I wanted it to have, you know, a bit of height. You know, I hate when things feel too claustrophobic. I don't know, maybe it's because I'm tall, but I was like, nah, like it has to have height on it. I'm sorry, respect. Now, ignore the fact that there's 3 cubes. I thought I was going with a different idea at first, which was to create like a little work pod house. It was not going to meet the conditions set for the assignment, so I had to dump it. I was pretty sad, to be honest, but you know, it made things simpler. I was like, you know what? I made it too complicated for no reason. I'm not even gonna lie to you. So although it shows me editing 3, which I made it a component so it can edit 3 things at the same time, you know, get into that. It does save a lot of time. Eventually, I'll go back to just working on 1. Now, the next thing I had to do, which was quite odd for me, but like, you know, make this square, you know, to 3 equal spaces, which I know is just 120 degrees, but isn't it odd? I don't know. It felt so odd doing that to a square, but I was like, okay, it's whatever. I do not have to overthink it. But anywho, with these 3 equal spaces, I gave each wall about, maybe not 2 inches. That's kind of thin. I want to say 5 inches of thickness between, no, actually it might have been 2. I'm lying. It might have been 2. It's definitely 2. 2 inches of thickness, only because these walls do retract. So I want like a slim finish. I don't like when things are too chunky. And I feel like that's appropriate. You know what's crazy, guys? I worked on this first mock-up and I was like, it's not giving like seed. So I didn't delete it, but I kind of started over with something else. And I started with this circle. And don't get me wrong, it was going like fabulous. What I did was you have to create a plane and then that plane will follow the perimeter. So I was like, okay, like, you know, let me have my curved wall so I can give seed. You know what I'm saying? Like, I thought this would be a hit. And you know what? It probably could have been if I knew how to do it properly, like, you know. But at the time, oh God, this was kicking my butt. I'm sorry. You guys see this nice shape that it starts to take on? I was so proud of it. But the part that made me start over, like with the square, is the fact that I couldn't properly, you see how over there in the square, I have like doors in it. I could not do that with this mock-up. I was like, dang, I gotta drop it. It wasn't that bad because I just carried over that method onto the square, and I'll show you guys later how that turned out. But anywho, the next big challenge was creating this table. That was also a part of the design. To create like organic forms in SketchUp was hell at first. I was like, bro, what am I doing wrong? Like, this is not, it wasn't giving. I'm sorry. I was struggling so bad, guys. And you know what? The reason why I was struggling, I was making it harder than it needed to be. I just needed to create a bunch of circles, guys. I'll show that like a little later. But guys, you see how I was struggling? Oh no, these shapes were not giving. I was like, bro, I'm just trying to have a funky shape going on. I thought I had it here. I was not happy with it. And I just kept on using like the arc instead of the circles. And I was giving myself a hard time. Like I was damn near freaking out, guys. Like this was tragic. Wish I showed more of the in-betweens of this process. But it was filmed on different days, like leading up to the due date. And, you know, when you get locked in, you just want to get it done. This is the final product. I was pretty happy with it. Ignore the materials that I used. I wasn't feeling how it was looking on this model, but it's okay. It's okay, you know, we turned it in, we still got an A on the project, okay? We break down the design. So the exterior will be made of gypsum and fiberglass, and it would be scored in a way where it will have this pattern ingrained in it That way it will have texture and just this look that kind of mimics wood a little bit. Not too much, but it's still abstract. Speaking of wood, the retractable wall panels and the floor are both wood. The floor is mahogany, the retractable wall panels are bamboo. I really like those two woods, one because they're sustainable and two, they just look nice. Table is marble if I ever found it like that. The lights are organically shaped too to complement the table and the motif. The presentation I put together, not too strong yet, but you know I'm only gonna get better. I do like it though. Love the colors that I use. I love the greens and then the contrast with the reds. As you can see, I picked furniture that complements the motif, organic shapes or organic materials. Most importantly, being in this class so far really made me realize that I really do love interior design. Like this stuff, I don't care. The workload doesn't feel like work to me. I absolutely enjoy it. I love putting things together, creating, you know, just fabulous interiors. Of course, it'll only get better. The renderings, I didn't really care for. I'm not even sure what happened with that. But of course, you know, graphics will always improve. Thank you guys so much for coming to my first interior design video. Alongside fashion, I really hope to drop more of these as they get more complex and intricate. But I feel like this is a pretty great start. I will see you guys later. Bye. I like to show up no less than 15 minutes early because just to get, you know,